Buenas chicos y chicas, en el día de hoy empezamos el episodio para New York.
It's still there, by the way. So
Antes
gas
de
says,
dejar
you
ver
know
un
what?
poco la
You
ciudad.
idiots. And he combined concrete with steel framing for the first time. That's a modern skyscraper. There is no height limit at all with concrete steel framing. That tops off at 60 stories at top of the beautiful pyramid crown. Yes, Gilbert was the main architect.
Acá hay más.
Tiffany, a New Yorker, elevated
No,
entrance
carcas.
way.
Este es el edificio más grande del mundo.
You can see it looks like a
Acá
church.
está.
That's Gothic cathedral architecture. And originally, there were over 1.25 million people that traveled all these waters from all over the world. We were the biggest seaport in mankind's history, safety and business. Now, on my left, every single block had a dock on it, by the way. And you'd be stuck out here with over 1,000 ships waiting in line dock. On my left, you see the big, that is the municipal building. Our main office is since 1914. The next year, it opened right next to the entranceway of the Brooklyn Bridge. The municipal building is our main offices. At the time, it was the busiest big office building in the world. And guys, you can hang out with Batman there. Don't you recognize Wayne headquarters for the first Michael? Now, ladies, Monday through Friday, you can get married there anytime you wish on the 19th floor. Guys, you can get divorced anytime you want on the 5th floor and hang out with Batman on the Brooklyn Bridge. Right there. The courthouses from Law and Order, which are real courthouses, are right above it. Now, when they dug out the earth for the Twin Towers, the foundations, they removed 2 neighborhoods of Queens of Romanians and Egyptians from New York. They dug out the whole neighborhood to build the foundations and the Port Authority underneath it from 64 to 69. All that earth was dumped right here on 12th Avenue. We paid for a park and beach, but of course in 1981 he says, well, we really need another new rich neighborhood for yuppies, young urban professionals, and the term comes from here. Then he's quite concerned, but I digress. About 60% of these buildings at least were just built in the last 25 years. Now look right in front of us, there she is, the Statue of Liberty. We're heading there. This is how she came to be. Now, the French artist Francisco Giraldi, badly pronounced with beats and Dr. Dyslexia, pretty much, I believe, he got the idea from Miss Columbia of America. The curly red hair and torture.
Estatua de libertad, acá está.
And his origins come from New York City during the Revolution. He would slightly redesign her several times over, about a dozen times over a 10-year period. Its first incarnation looked a lot similar to Miss Columbia. We copied that from Miss Liberty of the Greeks and Romans. He first wanted to place his version right in front of the pyramids of Egypt. Now, you know that ain't gonna happen. With Colgate Conquer Jersey City.
Acá se ve un poco mejor.
Landmark they spent a decade and millions of dollars to save. And you kind of wonder why we make fun of Jersey. Well, we still love them. And the building next door to it should be in New York City. That got everybody born and raised in 2 Jersey cities kicked out of their homes. It's cool. Some documents and some paintings and drawings. And we were like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't know, can you do something different with the hair maybe? You can figure out you're the artist. So he suddenly redesigned her again for New York City. They would send over a 6-foot statue the way she would look today. And the other 6-foot statue still is in Paris, France on their river facing us. By the way, that is not a crown she wears. It's not. Those are 7 rays of light and hope, representing the 7 seas of the world coming from her forehead, also representing humanity's love for the world. And we were like, yeah, I have no idea what the hell that means, but she looks cool at least. So, we give them the okay. They would build her and then disassemble her in Paris, France, and ship her to New York. She was warehoused and put in different locations at first when they looked for locations. The first place was the super rich neighborhood being rebuilt for the rich in Harlem. They say not in our neighborhood. What about here? Since the head's already here, let's place her in Battery Park in the front of New York City. Not in our park. They thought, why don't we tear down the filthy, disgusting, dangerous neighborhood, Long Acre Square? And we place her in the new theater district there on 42nd Street and Broadway. And the city gets together and sue, say not in our filthy, disgusting, no good neighborhood. In fact, you cannot put her anywhere in New York City. We never said we paid for this. That's when she did become a free gift, because she's already here and we're not paying for nothing. Oh, somebody not from New York got had and ripped off. That's a shock. On my left is downtown Brooklyn, our best friends ever. At the time, it was the city of Brooklyn. Now, they're building a super park for their rich community in Park Slope. It's a war memorial park. 2 designers who built Central Park and Riverside. built their part. But their favorite one is actually for Brooklyn. They're much bigger. They were like, hey, Brooklyn, would you let me be the Statue of Liberty out of Brooklyn? That's how she would end up eventually on the abandoned island of Bedloes, abandoned by both states. The battlefield of the war in 1812 is on the ground, and it's 3 to 6 feet deep in dead oyster shells, one of the 3 oyster islands coming up. At one time, their average size was 3 feet in diameter. Now, nobody cared that she's being built here. The artist swears he always loved this location, first of all, anyway. And it is the best location, so that worked out beautifully. But now they have to build a pedestal on top of the battery, so she can face the Verrazano Narrows, the only way in and out. But there's no money for this at all. Nobody's going to help with it. So one of the richest men in the world gets involved to help. His name is Pulitzer. Pulitzer owned about half the newspapers and magazines of the United States of America, and I believe a third in Europe and all the businesses around the world. He had disdain for the rich. He did not believe in corporations and hated capitalism. So much he's only one of the 10 richest men in the whole world. So he has a great idea. This is how we are going to get even with these no good, cheap, rich people and how we embarrass them. By you, the working people, you, the poor people, sending up your money to build that pedestal. And this is how we stick it to the rich. I guess this money was too evil for us. So we saved small change in New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Jersey, and Brooklyn, other parts on the East Coast, and we built the pedestal. It took us 2 years. He then donated $1,700 eventually. Instead of paying the homeless children, he used the slave to sell newspapers in New York, Boston, and throughout the world. They made a happy movie about that, Disney did, called Newsy, starring Baby Batman. That was Pulitzer. And now we got the pedestal. Before we get there, look at my right for Ellis Island. These 2 small islands were also covered in dead oyster shells. And in the 1880s, they decided to make this the more important entry for immigrants. Before it opened in Ellis Island in 1892-93, most immigrants on the East Coast came in through Philadelphia, then Boston. We were 3rd place. This then takes over in American history, unless you don't count the South Border. Now, once you arrived here in 1892-93, you would take dozens of physicals, room to room to room. But if you had the plague, you say, or you had typhoid, don't worry about it. They'd stick you in one of the small hospital facilities here in other parts of the city. And if you didn't die, welcome to America. It was open for a strong 30 years before abandoned. But it was closed down in the First World War. And who won the First World War? America, of course. And yes, we did. It took us less than 11 months, and that's with planning and travel. The first Americans to beg the fight, demanded to be the first one in the battle, came from Harlem. The 369 Infantry, Puerto Ricans, and Cubans of Spanish Harlem begged and demanded to be in the fight first. And they wiped out the German lines, becoming the #1 unit in World War I history. The Hellfighters of Harlem, given the nickname by the French. God bless America, vive la France. Back to the statue. Now they have to place her on top of the pedestal, but we got a big problem now. They have to now make her hurricane-proof because she's in the bay. But the government of France, to save money, may use as least copper as possible. Her shell is barely 2 pennies in thickness. So they have to bring another super architect to town, using brand new technology he helped to invent, and his name was Eiffel. So Eiffel, for the first time, built a steel frame ever for her inside, around the spiral staircase. He would then anchor it indirectly with long steel beams, and they became like shock absorbers, making her now hurricane-proof. He returned to Paris, France after this, and less than 2 years later would build his wonder of the world, the Eiffel Tower. So you can actually say she is the big sister to the Eiffel Tower. Even I gotta say that's cool. And if a New Yorker says it's cool, it's freaking cool. She would then open to the public for the first time in 1886. The combined height is 305 feet in height from the ground to the top of the torch. A beautiful copper brown originally. She takes about 35 years to oxidize a beautiful copper green. Families lived behind her on the island for over 120-30 years or so. But in 2012, the superstorm Sandy rose this bay and these rivers up between 1 to 2 stories in height, wiping out these shorelines and small islands. Also, by the late 70s, she's filthy dirty, major damage everywhere, major cracks. The torch is falling off. The only way up and down with that spiral staircase now actually dangerous to use. She did not have elevator lane or any electricity, air conditioning inside or heating. The whole island's a disaster area. So President Ronald Reagan had her shut down since an embarrassment and completely restored in the early 1980s. They first did was take out most of the spiral staircase. Then they added elevators for the first time, air conditioning, heating. They would also, the only thing we left of the staircase is in the head. They give her a brand new torch now, covered in 24-karat gold leafing. The whole island's restored. It was reopened to a birthday party from ships from all over the world in America in 1986. And Ronald Reagan was here to reopen her and rededicate her. Happy birthday! Her fireworks everywhere. Now we're about to pull in front. Get your cameras out, everybody. Oh, one last thing, by the way. In 2012, the FBI finally proved that your tour guide is insane, but has been right since 1995. Using facial recognition software, she is masculine. Have fun taking pictures.
Estatua de la libertad.